Go.
Hey guys, this is Tim over at Mahindra of Greensburg. Today we're going to be showing you how to remove as well as install the 1626B backhoe on a 1626 tractor. It will also be the same on a 1526 model. In addition to that, we're also going to show you how to set up the 3-point hitch on the machine once the backhoe has been removed. To start, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fire up the tractor. We'll go ahead and get her started up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to slide on back to the backhoe. First thing we're going to do to remove this backhoe is I'm going to swing out the stick and drop down the bucket so they're resting on the ground. At first, no pressure whatsoever. This one is equipped with a mechanical thumb. If you do have the mechanical thumb, not to worry, it does not interfere with removal or installation whatsoever. Okay, to drop that right down. Very light pressure. Our next step is we're going to drop our outriggers. Drop both of them down to the ground. Today we're working on idle, so I'm going to do one cylinder at a time. And on this model, it's easier if we keep the pads just above the ground, not actually making contact with the surface. Our next step, Steve, if you want to slide right around over here to me, I'm going to point out these pins over here in the backhoe. So we'll have a pin located just here. You'll see linch pins on either side of the fixed pin itself. There's going to be one matching it on the opposite side just over here. A little tougher to see, but at the bottom we have a cradle where the backhoe sits into place and attaches to the machine itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a slight amount of back pressure to the bucket itself to relieve the pressure off these top two pins here. Steve, if you go ahead and back up a little bit where you were before, I'll show how we're going to apply a slight amount of pressure to this backhoe bucket. So right about there is all we're going to need. I got one pin free. The other pin is also free. I'll get remove the linch pins from the inside of those two pins. Go ahead and pull those right out. Both pins have been removed. Our next step for removing this backhoe is to relieve the pressure that we applied to the boom itself. What that'll allow the backhoe to do is roll back towards us. There are two places that are safe to stand when removing this backhoe. Where I'm at, or matching me on this side here. Anywhere in these regions are going to be a potential pinch point between the backhoe and the tractor. It's applied to the boom itself to allow the whole backhoe to roll back towards me here. So we'll go ahead and relieve that pressure. You can see the backhoe starting to dip down. It's now going to make contact with the outriggers and roll away from the tractor. Steve, if you slide on over, you'll now see our top point where we removed that pin has removed itself from the tractor. And if you can slide that camera in over this side, you'll see where that heavy welded in pin has now removed itself from the lower cradle. At this point, we're now ready to remove the hydraulics from the machine. Before we touch those hydraulics, what we're always going to need to do, go ahead and turn that tractor off. Once the tractor is off, we need to remove the hydraulic pressure from those lines. We're going to grab our loader valve in this particular case. We're going to move this in all four directions, including diagonals, quite a few different times, just to relieve that hydraulic pressure. Perfect. Now that that pressure's been removed, Steve, if you want to stay on this side, I'll jump over. We're going to have a total of 3 lines on this particular tractor.
Go.
So now that we've relieved the hydraulic pressure, we'll go ahead and disconnect our lines. We'll just push that collar back to separate the lines. Depending on where you're at on the tractor, it may be a little more difficult to access. There we go. That one disconnects just like that. The last one we have is our power beyond just here. So we'll just disconnect that line as well. Once it's disconnected, this particular line will go right back to the bottom port or the male port on the tractor to complete the hydraulic circuit. Once that's connected, we're 100% ready to go with the tractor. So our next step is we're going to start the machine off and pull away from the backhoe. Okay, now that we have the backhoe physically removed from the tractor itself, we're going to go ahead and set that 3-point hitch up on the tractor. So currently we have nothing in place. I've just laid everything out right in the order that it'll go to. When setting up these lower links, what you'll notice is that the 3-point arm or the lower link is curved at the end. you want the curved part that goes inwards towards the inside of the tractor. So you always want this pointed towards the inside of the tractor. At this point, what we're going to go ahead and do is set up the 3-point hitch. So I'm going to remove the linch pins from the lift point here, the lower link point here, and then our sway chain assembly, which goes right here. Once all those pins are removed, we'll go ahead and slide this 3-point arm right on there. So first thing we're doing is going to get that lower link attached. Perfect. Go ahead and drop your linch pin right in place. Next point, while we're here, we'll get our check chain assembly, which I need to lengthen here. Go ahead and pull our pin, lengthen that out, and make our connection. Go ahead and return your linch pin. Last one that we have for installing this side is pick up on the entire 3-point arm. And it's going to attach right to our hydraulic lift point. Again, last thing, install our linch pin. That'll take care of this side. We'll go ahead and do the same thing on the opposite side. Again, I'm going to start by removing all my linch pins, all 3 pins. I'm going to do the same process. This time I'm going to go ahead and relieve or loosen this sway chain. Again, we're going to hook that lower link up first. Slide it right on in there. Oop. There we go. Go ahead and put our pin on. Go ahead and get that sway chain assembly. And linch pin. And the last one is we'll get our lift point. So we'll lift that right on up. Mind your hydraulic line. Get that positioned in there. And put in your linch pin. We got one more piece left, and that's going to be our top link. When you're looking at the top link, you'll notice there's a jam nut on the one end. Always want to make sure that your jam nut is at the top of your top link. So we're going to go ahead and remove the hairpin, push this pin out, drop our top link into position, push it through, and there we go. We're 100% ready to hook up any attachment that we like. The last step that we'll do is we'll go ahead and adjust our sway chain, putting our pins back in to adjust the inward-outward sway of the 3-point hitch. Okay, now that we've learned how to remove the 1626 backhoe from this tractor, as well as set up the 3-point hitch, off camera I've gone ahead and taken the liberty of sliding the tractor back into place up against the backhoe, but have not made any connections whatsoever, just simply back the tractor up. I have saved this step to show you guys here on video. Once you've moved that tractor into position to the backhoe, before we touch those hydraulic lines again, turn the machine off, grab your loader valve. We need to relieve that pressure once again to make those connections go smoothly for us. Okay, now that that pressure's been relieved, we'll go ahead and hook up our lines. Keep in mind the first one we're going to have to remove is this line just here, so pull that collar back towards you, remove that line. Our next step is, let's see here, I'm going to grab our green line here. You'll notice that there are zip ties already on here. So the green line goes to the bottom port that we just disconnected. Next thing we're going to do is the next color up is going to be our yellow line. So that's going to be the male fitting on the tractor side. Connect that to the female here. Perfect. Make sure we got a good connection on both of those. The last one that we have is our Power Beyond. Got a little bit of debris there. Make sure your fittings are nice and clean, no debris, nothing on them, or you will have a slightly leaky connection. Okay, we're all cleaned. Go ahead and reconnect those two lines. At this point, the hydraulics are ready to go on the machine. Next step, we're going to go ahead and fire up the tractor. Okay, folks, we went ahead and started up the tractor after we got all 3 hydraulic lines hooked up. Now we're just going to reverse the process that we did to remove the backhoe. So first step, I'm making sure that all our connections are lined up, and we're going to go ahead and start applying pressure to that boom once again. As I'm doing this, I'm watching my hydraulic lines, make sure that I don't end up with any pinched hoses. There, we're seated in the bottom. We're going to keep applying pressure to get this top cradle up into position. There we go. That's pretty darn close. Let's go ahead and check if we're in. That pin slides right through. Go ahead and grab our other pin. Also slides right in. Remember to apply your linch pins back in place. There's one. And two. At this point, the backhoe and tractor are once again mated. We can go ahead and pull up our outriggers as well as bucket. And we're 100% ready to go dig.